What's going on, everybody? Rob here, aka Trav2323. I have my lighting set up so you can try to see as best you can. Today it's my day off. Gonna try to get this Growatt going today. Two videos. One, we're gonna try to get this Daly BMS on. I got a Daly BMS in here. I'm charging my phone on a recharge because I didn't charge it last night. Got my Growatt manual and I'm charging. Get this cord out the way. This is the Daly BMS right here. The hot is hooked in. I gotta take all this apart. This B goes to the battery itself, and this B is the negative coming out the battery. That's gonna hook up to this NMC cable coming out the cooler. It's in the cooler. All right. Then I have the other NMC cable right here hooked up. See this right here is the negative that goes into the Growatt. But I'm not just gonna put it on the Growatt. I got a resistor to hook on here. Let me get it on there. All right, a resistor to hook on here. After everything's hooked up, I'm gonna have it hooked on the negative to charge the negative. Try not to hit anything. To charge, to put energy in the what the heck is that? Not the inverter, in the sine wave in there to fill it up so I don't get the spark or arc or short anything. All right, I have the hot coming out of here into a 70 amp breaker. Why I chose a 70 amp breaker? Because this is 4-gauge copper clad aluminum cable and it's got 75 amp capability continuous, so I put a 70 amp breaker on this. Now coming out is this is going to be going into an extension cord, and it requests to have a breaker on it. For the hot, I'm just plugging it into one of these because I know these have breakers on them, so I'm just plugging that into there right now. And afterward, everything, this is the output. We're going to plug something into it. Two videos. One, getting the Daly BMS on. If you followed my other videos, you've seen how this was wired together. That's 14 LG Chempact batteries, putting out 53 volts. So let me get the negative hot wired in together, and I already downloaded the Daly app. Daly, I gotta say Daly smart BMS. And do not try to start this unless you have power going into this. Apparently these right here, you need power going into them for them to start. This does have a temperature sensor. This is not plugged in yet. Temperature sensor, and what's this right here? I forgot what this is. The battery moves, so let me get this out. My Bluetooth dongle. All right, so let me get this negative line hooked up, and then we're gonna go ahead and start on this. I do have my bifocals on and the Growatt manual with me, and I have cliff notes in here. So after everything's hooked up, we're gonna go over some cliff notes that I took from the Growatt manual. All right, everything you're gonna tighten up. Make sure you have rubber grip tools so you don't actually accidentally arc anything. Okay, so these right here, I just used what I had to connect them together, and then I'm gonna electrical tape all these. I'm gonna electrical tape them separately and individually. I don't want anything exposed that got a connection. I actually taped this with captain tape all the way to stop anything from touching any of these wires. All right, I have the negative. Like I said, this is in the middle of the negative line. So I'm plugging this in now. All that's hooked up. I'm plugging this in now. This is the Bluetooth dongle. This right here, if you follow my videos, I showed you how I wired this in 14 series. One thing with the Growatt, it does ask how much batteries you have in series. So this is a 48 volt battery, but I have 14 batteries in series. Now this right here will start to warm up. This got a big heatsink on it. It will start to warm up even if this is not on. This is going to start to warm up. This is the Bluetooth dongle. I'm gonna something to prop this open because this is, you know, on that, so it's not propped open. All right, so now from there right here, these are live. I should be able to get a 48 volt rating from there. This right here is the negative coming out. This goes straight into the Growatt. This right here is the positive, and it's already wired in. But I'm going to go ahead and tighten these up right here. The 70 amp, I'm going to tighten these up right here. These ain't tightened up yet, but in the same, it's not live yet because it's not connected to the other connector. All right, I'm touching the NMC connectors to show you the voltage coming out the battery right now. 52.2 volts coming out the battery right now. The BMS is actually hooked up already, but it's not on right now because it's not active in the phone. This right here will start warming up little by little. I do have vents on here that I'm opening up. These are the vents right here to keep the battery cool. That BMS is not going to go on until the battery is has about 10 amps to it. I got the 100 amp BMS until it has about 10 amps to it. Now with the Growatt, it's not plugged in. This is what I'm using to charge this lithium ion battery. Although this is going to be set to user define because it does have a lithium ion setting. But that's if you're using the battery that's compatible, the BMS that's compatible with this. So I have to user define it and set it myself. So I'm live to here right now, but I'm not live to in there right now. So when I connect these NMCs together, this right here is going to go on here, but it's not going directly on there first. I'm going to use a 25 rod 30 ohm resistor to pre-charge the inverter. I'm going to hold this on here to pre-charge the inverter for, I'm probably going to hold it on there for like 3 minutes, 4 minutes. It's going to be a long hold, but then I'm going to take this off, unplug the connectors, screw this on, then plug in the connector, then put power to the Growatt. All right, so let me charge this up right now. Under this, I'm holding the resistor itself, not the wire, and I'm going to charge the inverter. Okay, I held this on there for actually 2 minutes, so I'm going to pop the breaker. The breaker's popped. There's no power going through here. Now I'm going to be careful and I'm going to connect the negative inside there. Alright, now I got some clips right here. I'm going to put one on right here to hold these two in place right here. And I'll probably put another one to hold it in place right down here. Alright, so negative and positive now. Power on, no spark. Power. This right here is live. Everything is live right here except the Growatt. So what I'm going to do is get these screwed down right now to keep these out of my way. Alright, I grabbed something preferably non-metallic to hold this in place. BMS is hooked up. You can tell it's warming up already. The BMS is warming up. This is the Bluetooth dongle. This is open right here. I have all that covered up, but you can't see it right now. But this is the discharge from the battery in the Growatt. This is the input. All right, you plug them in right in here. Ground, line, neutral is the first one is the input to the Growatt if you want to plug it in, and the back one is the output to the Growatt. I don't have any photovoltaic hooked up right now. I do got solar panels, but it's like gonna be wind chill minus 25 tomorrow, so those are not getting hooked up. So I'm gonna get an extension cord over here. Well, I got one right here. Okay, a little breaker on this one, and I'm gonna plug it in the Growatt right now. I don't know if this is gonna activate until I set this, but there's an on button for that also. All right, Growatt is plugged in. The Growatt is plugged in. It's not on yet. I have this so close so you can see everything close up. Now there's an on and off button right here. I just turned the Growatt on. Oh, you know what? That's not plugged in. Let me go plug that in. All right, let's see what happens now. Is that on? This is on. Check the breaker. Breaker's not tripped. This is the on and off button. Alright, let me switch this out to see if this has anything to do with it. Okay, that was pretty useless. Everything's hooked up, plugged in the power. It did not go on. After reading my voltage, 51 volts here. Before I put this on, connected it, I was getting 51 volts. I put this on and I'm not getting the 51 volts. Therefore, I'm bypassing this right here for now. Okay, apparently the Growatt will not go on unless you have sufficient battery power to right here. With this right here, I wasn't getting the voltage out of here. With this in, this was sucking up so much of the voltage, it was dropping to 9 volts right here. So I bypassed this. I just hooked it to one terminal right here. It's bypassed. So I'm gonna check the voltage to right here and here to make sure I'm getting the 48 volts right here. All right, I got the negative and the positive. There, I'm getting the 51 volts. So now, since it wasn't the proper voltage, I'm getting the getting this again, and I'm going to charge the transformer again like this to make sure I'm getting the right voltage to the transformer before I plug it in. Another 2 minutes. I did it 2 minutes last time. I'm going to do 2 minutes like this to charge this transformer. Okay, so I charged the transformer, got positive and negative hooked up. I know that was 52 volts previously. I'm hooking up the NMC connectors. NMC connectors hooked up. Let's check the voltage right here. Alright, I got the voltage thing right here. I'm going to touch the negative. Oh, let me get it untwisted. Negative to positive right here. Man, I'm still dropping to the voltage right here. 17.9 up here. 18.3 volts is not the 48 volts that I need. Is it dropping because it's going into the transformer? It's 52 volts before it's connected into this. So I got to try to connect these two together. Or is it just dropping from the transformer? I'm going to try to plug it in, see if it'll go on right now. It says there's not enough voltage to wake up the Growatt. See? It's on. And the battery's not putting enough voltage to it, so I'm gonna just bypass this completely and then see if I'm getting the voltage. Alright, back at it again. So I got the battery hooked straight into there right now. Straight into there. I tested from here to here. I got 51 volts. So I'm gonna go at it again with this, but I'm gonna hold it there for like super long time now. Okay, what I am noticing is as I'm just leaving the battery connected, the voltage is going up to the inverter. See, it's walking up to the inverter. So I'm going to just leave this sit like this. So that gets up to 48, I guess. See? It's walking up the inverter. So I'm just going to leave it sit like this till it gets up to 48. Alright, I did some video editing and I left this sit. So let's see if this Growatt inverter went up to 48 volts. Let's see if you can see that right there. It wouldn't power on because it said there wasn't enough voltage from the battery. The battery was reading 51 at the time. 44.5 volts. 44.6. Looks like it's maintaining 44.5 volts. Now that should be enough to get the Growatt on. So here I'm going to plug it in again. Aha! Light flickered. Nothing. It's driving me nuts now because that light did flicker like it had enough power, and I bet you this actually went all the way back down again. Took so long to get that up, and now see, this is only reading 48.9 volts, like the inverter took all the power. Can't figure this one out. I plugged it in. This was 44.9 volts. It was enough power to get this started, but as soon as I plugged it in and turned it on, it drained all the power, like all the power from the battery. Womp womp womp. This video is gonna have to wait for another day. Everything is right. This right here keeps dropping to 10 amps or 10 volts when I plug it in and try to turn it on. And I was attempting to use this Growatt and the plug to charge and wake up the Daly. Okay, the Daly BMS. This is still hot. I mean, this is still trying to balance the batteries. All right, but this, without an active, this is sleeping, without a woken BMS, this will not wake up the BMS. This needs to be woken up at with the solid 10 amps charging the battery, and this completely needs to be woken up before the Growatt is gonna recognize this battery. So I gotta get a 48 volt lithium ion charger. All right, sitting in front of my laptop. Hopefully this light is enough. I found the whole problem. I called Watts 24/7. Shouts out to Watts 24/7. It sounds like his cell phone. He's who I bought my Growatt inverter from. Picked it right up and let me know it sounds like your Daly BMS isn't active yet. Okay, my mistake, my problem is I got everything together so far. I got the LG Chempax 14 series 48 volt, and I got a 48 volt 100 amp Daly BMS, but the Daly BMS needs amperage to go through it. Like some people say 4 amps, some people say 10 amps for the Daly BMS to turn on, to be active, to be awakened from its dormant state. So what I was thinking I was gonna do is I was thinking that after I hooked everything up and everything all together, that I was gonna plug the Growatt inverter into the grid, into the power outlet, and the grid will be able to put current into the Daly to turn on the Daly. My mistake, and I always say I make mistakes so you don't have to. Okay, so the Growatt inverter will not turn on unless you got full current from the battery. Even though you got the Daly or the battery hooked in all the way to the Growatt inverter, if that Daly BMS is not on, it will not give you the full current. The Growatt inverter will not turn on even if it's connected to the grid. So my thing was I was gonna charge that the Daly BMS, and wake it up from the Growatt, but I need a already on Daly BMS plugged into the Growatt to wake it up the opposite way. So I just ordered a $200 60 volt 10 amp benchtop power supply. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that at 48 volt 10 amp to put to the Daly to wake up the Daly, and then go from there. But I always wanted a bench power supply, but I wouldn't have bought a 60 volt 60 volt power supply previously. I probably would have just bought a 12 volt one, and I would have still needed a 60 volt one. So if you're in the Chicago area and you got a 48 volt Growatt system, Northern Indiana area, you got a 48 volt Growatt system, or you have a Daly BMS you need woken up, hit me up. Talk to you later. Subscribe, like, and share. And this is going to be a revisit. When this power supply comes in, I'm going to do an unboxing of the power supply, and I'm going to hook up the power supply to the Daly BMS, and we're going to wake it up. All right, bye-bye.